Hi, I'm Dr. Mitch Harlan, and welcome to the Truth Talks podcast. I am here today with Justin Carpenter. Justin, how are you?
Doing good. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic. I got to hear a little bit about your story a few months, or about a month ago, I think it was. You'd made a post on the internet.
Yep.
And then we also have a special tie with you. My daughter goes to your school. You're
Yes,
the athletic director and assistant principal at Erie High School, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then obviously producer Chad does a lot of the filming for the football stuff.
He does. We're blessed to have him there. Yeah.
Well, that's always up for speculation, but
I'll take it.
he is very good at what he does. Matter of fact, those are amazing. We talk about them all the time.
Yep.
This is an interesting story that we certainly want to run. When I got the opportunity to speak with you, it was that immediate kind of connection that I get sometimes with people where you're like, oh my God, this guy's like the greatest guy in the world, right? And
I appreciate it.
I would assume that is probably something that you hear probably quite often. Seem to be very humble, very open to who you are. Yeah. And the issue with this story is you've been diagnosed with ALS.
Yes. Yeah.
Let's give the audience just a little bit of background about what that is.
Yeah, no. So ALS, or Lou Gehrig's, as it's more commonly known. Yeah. I didn't know anything about it, to be honest, until I sat in a doctor's office, and the doctor looked at me and said, I think you have early onset ALS, and it was news to me at that point.
What'd you go in for?
I went in just, I was having weird symptoms involving my right arm. I'd always had shoulder trauma, tore rotator labrum, that just from sports injuries and wear and tear and being stupid. But I was having some issues with my right hand in particular, and it was loss of fine motor skills, movement, some atrophy, and some of those things. So I went in and just did the gamut of tests and MRIs after MRIs, and just trying to kind of find an answer, and no one knew what the answer was. And then my wife would go to most of the appointments with me, and I went to one, and it was the one that she wasn't at. And the doctor does these tests. They put you in the whole gown. They only had child's gown, so that was kind of a funny story as well. You have a 285-pound dude in a
Scooby-Doo outfit.
In a Scooby-Doo Youth XL gown. But they did tests. He called me in his office. And he goes, this is what I think you have. At that point, I was the only one there. So I wanted to get out of that office as quick as I could.
Did you know anything about it, though?
Nothing.
So you were like, I need to get out of here. I need to go see what the hell he just told me?
Well, yeah. The only thing I knew about it was that there's no cure.
Yeah.
And that's pretty common to people I talk to now. They know that it's terminal right now. I say right now because I don't think it's always going to be terminal. I don't. But as of right now, it is. There's 2 medicines that are approved to treat people, but the treatment isn't a treatment in terms of reversing course or anything else. It just prolongs kind of your life and your quality of life.
Yeah. How long ago were you diagnosed?
I was officially diagnosed at the Mayo Clinic December 2nd of last year. So coming up on a year. The conversation I was just talking about in the cold office with the Scooby-Doo gown, that was in October of last year. So all this has been going on for about a little over a year.
So when you get that and you're the only one there, you leave there, do you call your wife?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And does she know anything about ALS or?
No. And I didn't tell her at the time. I just I started crying on the phone, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because again, the only thing I knew about it, is I'm a sports guy, so I know who Lou Gehrig is. And I know that this is the disease that is associated with him. And I knew that there is no cure to it.
And you were how old?
34. Just turned 34.
Just turned 34.
Yeah.
So that is one of the things that, when no matter where you're going in, when you have something that you don't feel is quite right and you're going in to try and get that diagnosis and I think for the most part, most of us can be like, it's probably not going to be anything major,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then boom, right? You get that, and
Totally.
I assume that many thoughts went through your mind.
Yeah, big time, big time. I think the biggest thing is in the moment you don't know what to do or really how to react. Again, it was a doctor I just met too, so you're trying to stay composed and stay, in the moment and everything, but at the same time, I don't want to believe what you say.
Right.
I don't want to take any of this for what you say. I want to get out of your office right now. Like, thank you for your time. I'm going to go.
And you specifically remember that feeling.
100%. Yeah, I will never forget that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hope I don't, because it was like, that's part of the process. That was part of the journey.
So you get out of there. What happens next? I know you call your wife.
Yeah, I called my wife, I talked to her, and then it was actually a Friday afternoon, and I was on my way back to Erie High School because we had a football game. So I was on my way back up to the high school. So after I talked to her, I talked to my mom, and it was the same thing. I was just, your mind automatically goes to the worst place, and that's where mine went. Was, oh my gosh, I'm dying right now. Well, we're all dying right now.
Yeah.
And that's probably something that we'll touch on a little bit. But I called my mom. It was a real honest talk, and then I went to work, and that's my way of coping at times, and it may not be the best way, but I wanted to be around people and I wanted to do my job. And we had a football game that Friday night. I think we got through the game. We won the game, which was good. But my mind wasn't there.
Yeah, I mean, I can only imagine. One of the things that we do in True Talks is it's always to help someone to show a story and having somebody come completely from the heart. And I think one thing that we can talk about here with absolute certainty is you just never know what someone is going through until they tell that story themselves.
Yeah, no, and that's being fortunate enough and blessed to work with kids and work in a high school as long as I have. I think I'm more empathetic to that. I think empathy is lacking in the world a little bit, especially lately. There's just so much junk going on. But I feel like I can be, and I feel like that's something I do a good job at. More so now, though, because of that.
Well, I
Because
kind of
the
want to
situation
go,
I'm in.
we're a year in, and I kind of want to go, do the thoughts fade a little bit?
No, no, I don't think so.
It's on your mind every day?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, and that's something that that is good in one sense. I'll tell you, because it gives you focus. Like, every day gives me focus. Every day I go into work, and I have a little blurb on my wall that I got from a great colleague of mine and great friend, and I read it every day. And kind of the point of it is, you better make today worth it, because you're exchanging today for kind of a day on your back end. So you better make today worth it.
Which is really fascinating, because that's one of the things I certainly want to talk about, because I think there is this, one of my favorite sayings is the dash, right? From the day you were born to the day you die, the dash. The dash is what is important and what means everything. I think a lot of us, we look at that dash and there's nothing on the other side of it. But when there becomes a number on the other side of it, how does that actually change your perspective, change your focus?
Yeah.
And as we've talked about, we could all leave here today and one of us not make it home. And so there's kind of that psychology that goes into that, right? And I think that's I know it's what I want to understand.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, we're all born with a terminal end date,
Yeah.
I guess. And then your belief system and your who you are and what you put your eggs in, I guess. That's what something that my grandma would always say is, what basket are you going to put your eggs in? I put my eggs in a basket that I believe in pretty strongly.
Yeah.
And I believe in what's going to be in store for me and my family after all this is said and done.
And I want to get to that because it's just insane because we run so many different types of crazy good stories that they're almost all turning out to be faith-based stories, which I think is really cool because I'm a believer. I know producer Chad's a believer. I've known you not long. I kind of feel like had we known each other for a long time, we'd be best friends. We'd have been sitting out in the back deck, hanging out, having a drink, and doing what we do. Have you always been that way, or have you changed in a little bit after getting the diagnosis?
Yeah. I hope I haven't changed much. I think I've always been that way. I've always kind of been the glass half full guy. In fact, that's, my wife and I, that's probably what we argue about the most. And she goes, "Why are you so glass half full all the time?" And my answer is, like, do you want it the other way around? Do you want me to be just the negative Nancy all the time? Because I don't want to live life that way. I don't think anything good comes from it. The diagnosis that I have right now, it sucks.
Yeah.
There's no way around it. It's not fair. And it's really not fair to other people in my life. It's not fair to my family. And it's not fair to my wife. And it's not fair to people that I love and that love me. But I'm not gonna cry about it. I'm not gonna dwell on that. I'm gonna do what I can do to extend and fight and try to make this thing last as long as I can.
I think I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask the question anyway. Do you worry more for them than yourself?
100% I do. Because I don't know, again, I think I can be okay. Strong mind, strong faith, I can be okay. You can't always control others and others in your circle, and there may be a time to where I'm going to need them, and I'm confident that they'll come through. That's what family does and friends do. But I worry about other people.
As more time goes on, again, year past diagnosis, and more time goes on, what do you find yourself focusing on?
Right now, it's the little things, to be honest, and I need to get better at being selfish, first of all. I need to get better at respecting my time a whole lot more and my wife's time. So I need to get better at those things because it's just kind of out of my character and nature to do those things at times and leave the office early and show up late. And it's like foreign to me. It feels wrong. But I need to get better at those things. Taking everything for what it is at face value and enjoying the crap out of it.
Do the mountains look more pretty?
Yeah.
Sun a little brighter?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, definitely.
So I will segment into your wife. So of course I do my research when we're going to be doing these things.
Yeah.
And I'm scared of your wife.
Yeah, she's a beast.
She's a beast. She's into this CrossFit stuff. I see her doing, and it's really interesting because we have actually a mutual friend that I know really well that trains with her. And I see her doing all these pull-ups and all this other stuff. So I got to ask the question, is she riding you like a used donkey in healthcare?
She's a beast, yeah. But we work out and we make time to work out once or twice a week together. It's fun for me on the backside of this. I can't do what I once did lifting-wise. And I used to love to work out. I used to love to lift heavy weight. There was nothing like getting under a bench press and maxing out. Like, just there's nothing that can replicate that. I can't do that now. Last time I did bench press, I think I did 65 pounds on the bar, and one arm locks out and the other arm doesn't. I don't have it anymore. So with my physical health and limitations declining at times, it's more encouraging to me to see hers increase at the same time. Yeah. Like, there's nothing more satisfying for me than to see her just crush a workout or her crush a lift and do those things.
And she does.
She does, yeah. She's a beast.
I want to get back to your wife, but I want to kind of bring her back a little bit later in the segment. But I think in most people's world, it's the parents that, from the time you're born till, whenever you kind of get on your own, it's your parents that you look for guidance and for support and so on and so forth. How did they take that?
Yeah. Not well, I guess.
That's pretty
the
obvious, I
short
would
answer
say,
is the
right?
obvious one, but no, it's tough. I think there's a couple things that factor into that. One is when I was starting to tell people that were family, close friends, those type things, I didn't know how to do that, And I remember I sat down with Jamie, my wife, and I got the news December 2nd. So then in my rational kind of distorted thinking, I said, well, I don't want to tell anyone over Christmas because I don't want to be that guy over Christmas and they're watching Hallmark movies and I tell them, hey, I have ALS. I'm not going to be that guy. So then it said, well, I don't want to tell them over New Year's because I don't want to mess up their New Year's and start off 2020, which has been awesome anyways with more bad news. So I kept trying to talk myself out of it. But what I was really doing, I did not want to tell people because I can see like the genuine sadness in some people, and that sucks. That wears on you big time. With my parents, it was the same way, and with Jamie's parents. I'm very fortunate that I have a mom and a dad that I love and that love me, and I have her parents that love me too, and I love them. So very, very fortunate to have them, but it was very tough.
And her dad also is been pretty instrumental for you because he's a very logical type of guy and can kind of help with the emotional versus the logical. And you'd mentioned before that was a blessing for you.
He is. He's a guy. He's again, stuff just works together. Like if your whole life is a puzzle, which I think all of ours are, and there's different pieces that get put in, and they all have to fit perfectly for things to work out. And her family, and especially her dad, they're a big piece of the puzzle. And there's been times where I don't know what to think. I don't know how to be a good husband and then fight through all this and be a good son and be a good brother and be a good employee and all those things. And I feel like I could ask guidance, and I get good guidance from people.
What do you say to them when you broke the news to them? What do you say? Or do you think they were looking more for your guidance as to how you're handling it?
No, actually, I think it's the opposite. So to go back on that story, I didn't tell anyone over Christmas. I didn't tell anyone over New Year's. So there was maybe about 20 to 25 really close people that I feel like if they didn't hear it from me, if they heard it through someone else or online, that they would be hurt and it wouldn't be right. So with those people, I drafted email, and I hate email in my personal life and professional life. I think it can be an impersonal way of communication, but I didn't know how else to do it. I did not want to call 25 people and just give the same story to one, because I cry all the time whenever I tell. Yeah. It was hard to do that. And two, I wasn't emotionally ready to listen to everyone's responses. Mm-hmm. So I sent an email out. Responses of the email, I had to make the decision to myself that if I'm going to send this out, I'm doing it for me. I'm not doing it based on the reaction that I may get, because I knew it would be a mixed bag. Probably about 90% of the people were very supportive. Said, I'll do anything that you need me to do. Just tell me when and where, and I'll be there. A couple people were really upset that I didn't call them, that I didn't take them out to lunch or a beer, that I sent them an email. They thought it was an impersonal thing, and I get that too. People handle stuff in different ways. Mm-hmm. So I had to make sure I was ready. I had to protect myself and my family in breaking this news, because it sucks. And to answer your question, I think a lot of people react to this the way that they would want someone to react to them. Mm-hmm. if that makes sense.
It does, and I believe that wholeheartedly. And I think also a lot of times people react in a way to their level of connection to that person.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, logically speaking, parents would be like, okay, well, wait a minute. Now I'm all in for this fight. It's my kid.
Yep.
I'm all in. And I don't know if any of us are equipped to handle any of that stuff
No.
until it happens, right? It's just like, here it is.
No, and there were a lot. I'm blessed to have great friends. I really am, and great family. But after I sent that out, there's so many people that said, "Well, let's get together this Thursday, and then let's hang out this Saturday, and then let's do this Monday." But I'm not dying. I say that all the time, and my wife gets mad at me sometimes because we all are dying. But
Yeah.
But I had a lot of people react in that way of like, well, I want to see you immediately. And for some of them, that's how they cope, is they need to see me. They need to see that I'm still able to do a lot of the same things that I've always been able to do.
How do you feel about the condition? Are you in the war to win this thing?
Yeah. I'm not going to let someone just, I'm not going to lay down for anything.
You don't strike me as the guy that would.
No. Well, I'm stubborn as hell, and it's a bad trait. In this particular fight that I'm in, it's going to save my life. To add to that is I'm getting involved right now in a clinical trial, and it took a while to get in just because COVID backed everything up, and the trial process and the FDA process, I've learned a lot about that, and it's not a clean process. It's confusing, and it's tough at times. But I start my trial in a week and a half, my clinical trial. I don't know what I'm taking. I don't know if it's a drug. I don't know if it's a placebo. It could be a Splenta packet, liquefied, whatever. I don't care. Because I'm doing something, and I'm gonna keep doing it.
Is it fair to say that you didn't look at the side effects because you don't care? You're all in.
Yeah, I don't care.
It's like, let's take whatever it is. Let's give us a shot.
I mean, yeah. Because if I don't do that, the one promise I made to my mother-in-law, the one thing I told her is I'm going to do everything that you or anyone else tells me to do. I'm going to do that. If they say eat this herbal root, that whatever, okay, yeah, I'm gonna
Give me
do
the
it.
root.
So when it comes to clinical trial, if I start turning that stuff down, can I look at those people in the eye and be honest and say I'm trying to do everything I can to be here for the long term?
How do you want people, including us, to see you and to treat you?
The easy answer is the same, but I know it's not realistic. It's not. But that's the easy answer, is treat me the same, just like everyone else. Well, that's not the case. There's some limitations that I'm starting to learn about myself, both personally and professionally. I'm not good at asking for help. Again, it's just I'm stubborn. I'm not good at that, and I think if there's anyone else out there, that's probably something that a lot of people struggle with, and that's something I've had to work hard on myself for, is to ask for help. But to everyone else out there, not the same, but not different. If that makes sense.
No, I think it does. I think it makes a lot of sense. But anytime I do these stories, man, I want the exact story of how it feels. Like, are you okay with people being sad when they're around you?
Oh, yeah. No, I am. And I can empathize with people being sad. And I think if how I would feel if I was in that position, if roles are switched and we're talking and you have ALS and I do not, I think of how I would feel and how that would sit on me. So I can empathize with other people that feel like that.
It already has me with you.
Yeah.
And this is going to sound a little crazy, but we hadn't talked more than 5 minutes on the phone, and there was something about your voice, and I'm like, this could be my BFF right here, man. And so It's been a little
That's
heavy
good.
for me.
No, it's good.
And so on the other hand, though, is it a feel good thing when you go hang out with your buddies and ALS is not even mentioned? You're having a drink, you're laughing, you're cutting up. Is that what you prefer?
It is because at some point there may be a time to where I won't be able to do some of those things to the way that I do them now. So when I do get to do those things, or when I'm in those settings, I love it, and I'm gonna enjoy every single bit of it. And my situation now, I really thrive on the opportunities.
Well, we talked about the bucket list
Yeah,
a little bit. Why the hell would there even be a bucket, right? Do it when you can do it.
yeah,
And again, it is that really interesting psychological concept of we all are dying. We don't know when, but it doesn't seem like we focus on it unless we think that we know.
yeah. And that was just like we talked about a little bit. I kind of struggled with that for a little bit personally because, your mind starts racing automatically and you feel like you have to do everything in one day. I remember I went to an appointment. My father-in-law was there, my mother-in-law was there, my mom was there, my wife was there. I was on the table getting examined, shirt off, boxers.
Did they at least have an adult
No
gown?
gown, which was almost worse. No. I would have preferred to have a gown on that one, but pretty intensive appointment. And I leave that appointment and I automatically started going into my planning phase of like, I got to do everything in one day. I got to set up Jamie for whatever that looks like. I got to look into medical power of attorney. I need to get out of all debt. I need to pay off everything I can. I'm going to be debt free because I don't want my debt to go to anyone else. Like I started thinking of all those things, and it took me a while to say, slow down, just pump the brakes a little bit. And then once I got to that point, it was a little bit better.
I asked you this before, and I'm going to ask it again on air here, but are you living to die or dying to live?
Yeah, I think that's an easy one. I am not I'm not just gonna wait here and let my fate be sealed.
Which I think is awesome. I mean, right? I mean, it's just a message for freaking all of us. Just go do what you're going to do and enjoy and try and get as much in life as you can possibly get.
And there's only one person that knows how the game ends for us.
That's correct.
There really is, and I have the utmost faith in that. And it's not my place to question his plan, because I've done that before, and I do it all the time. I still do it. Today I did it probably.
Yeah.
I do it daily. I question plans. I think I'm above his plan. I'm not. So every day that comes, whether it's a good day or a bad day, if it's a bad day, well, it's because he wanted me to have a bad day for a reason.
Well, we talked about the tire. Remember when you had the flat tire?
Yep.
And you were pissed going in, ruined your whole day?
I was.
And now we say if your car's on fire in the parking lot, you'd be like, that's all right, I'll get another one.
All right.
It's all right.
It's 2014 Kia. I could get one of those anywhere.
I can do that again. I'll get
I
another
can do
one.
that again. No, but it's there's a bigger purpose out there, and there's a bigger lesson of life is hard as it is. 2020 is hard. You have kids. You have high school age kids. Chad has high school age kids. It's hard for them right now. My wife owned a small business that we had to shut down because of COVID. That was hard. But how are you going to come out of those situations?
Do you think that hard for you is actually easier now, though?
No. I don't think it ever gets easier. I still, if I'm being honest, because that's what...
It's called Truth Talks.
That's what you want here.
Yeah.
I still think about what I have a lot. But I think about it in different ways.
Yeah.
Little things, stupid things, but little things. Last night at the football game, and Chad was there. It was cold. The wind just cut right through you. I had a bag of M&Ms in my pocket for the third quarter. I had a hard time getting M&Ms out of my pocket, and it was just fine motor skills.
Yeah.
So it's a lot harder to pick up a M&M than it was a year ago.
Did you manage to get it done though?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah,
Damn right I did.
I did. But so I do think about it all the time, but it just comes in different ways.
Which form do you have? Was it sporadic or familial?
Sporadic.
Sporadic. So, which is the most common?
90% about.
Correct. So, but you have a brother.
I do.
Tell me how your brother dealt with it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was rough. So when we were in the Mayo Clinic, we went last December. So we would always spend Thanksgiving in Florida. That's where my wife's family is from, and that's where we like to go. So we flew right from Florida to Rochester, and then we had appointments to be seen at the Mayo Clinic. And the Mayo Clinic, it was overwhelming. It was an experience. Doctor came in, and again, he's a doctor I respected. He's gone to school longer than I've been in life. Gave me what he thought I have and what I do have, and I said, "Thank you very much. My time here is done. I don't need to stay for another couple days. I don't need to do any more tests." So we went home that night. I called my brother on the phone, and I think he was one of the first people I told about everything, and that's when it really hit me, the impact that news has on other people. Because I've never experienced talking to someone on the phone and you could just hear, like I could see his face almost on the other end. And it wasn't FaceTime or anything. I could just see that, and that sucked.
Yeah, I have two brothers too, and I can picture that. I'm picturing what that might be like.
That was awful. Yeah, he came, picked us up from the airport because we needed a ride, and when he was there, I just told him the night before, and I knew the amount of research that he had already done, and he had told me too that he didn't sleep much the night, and I knew that because I didn't sleep much that whole month or so, but and that's, for me, I knew at that point, I knew the burden that this was going to put on some people, and that's the part that's really unfortunate about all this. That's the part that's not fair.
Yeah, that was certainly one of the questions I wanted to ask you, and you and I had talked about it before, and because I already knew the answer, I'm like, if it had to happen, if there was a hat and it said somebody's got to have this in your family, there's no doubt you would have picked it up anyway.
Yeah, there is. Yeah. I think I'm. So I know more about the disease now, and I don't know if I'm at the stage to advocate fully and campaign and do all those things, but I know enough about it to know it's a cruel thing, and the world is cruel, and the world doesn't make sense a lot of times, and ALS makes zero sense to me, and I feel like if anyone needs to take that out of my family.
Did you do the ALS challenge, the Ice Buck challenge when that went out?
Yeah, I did 4 years ago. I was the athletic director at Arvada High School, and it came out. And to be honest, I'm kind of ashamed of this. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't look into it at all. I wrote a check for $100 to ALS Association, and I let a group of kids. It was our special needs kids at the time because I ran that department and I loved hanging out with our special needs kids. I let them pour a bucket of ice water on me.
And I went back to work.
Yeah, and I'm ashamed to say it, like, yeah, I supported the cause, but I didn't know what I was supporting.
Yeah. That is interesting because I did it, and I had the same reaction. I'm like, hey, this is a great cause. We're gonna do. Matter of fact, my whole family did, and then we challenged everybody in our family, and they did. Same thing. And now that I know you, it was that same reaction I had when I first got the news that we were going to actually do this story. I was like, shit, I did that thing and I didn't even know what I was doing.
Yeah. They did raise a lot of money from that. And the fruits of that labor are being seen right now. The gentleman that started the Ice Bucket Challenge just passed away from ALS. But they raised just ungodly amount of just funds that now are going into all these clinical trials and research, and there's a lot of stuff in the hopper, which is good.
When I see something like this story, I initially get that same reaction that anyone would, like, okay, man, this sucks. We got that. Now this is a battle. This is what we got to do, right? I do believe that in the very near future, and potentially even the trials you're doing, we're going to see this stuff starting to get beat.
Yeah.
And then there's the in perspective, which is a faith, right? A faith that anything can happen, a miracle can happen. So it's almost like it's 2-1 in favor of. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. It does. And I agree with that. I do. You can go down the rabbit hole with ALS like crazy. And I've done that a little bit, and then I just stop myself. There's people on blogs that spend thousands of dollars a month combining remedies and doing this, that, and the other. And the thing I get from that is people, they're fighting so hard to elongate and save their life. And I respect that. I do. And I would do anything to do that. Mm-hmm. If they told me, again, eat this awful thing every day and it'll save your life, okay, I'm going to do it. But I also find hope, I think is the best word, and a sense of peace too, that I'm going to be fine.
Yeah.
Regardless of what happens physically. So I can't bench press 315 anymore. That's okay.
That is okay.
Who cares? I can't do some of those things. I can't run marathons. Well, I never ran marathons. So I'm going to be fine. My physical being may not be what it was and may get worse. My spiritual being is not, and my mind is not.
Tell me how the diagnosis, how all the thought processes, how did that change your faith or perhaps enhance that?
Yeah. So I had always, just growing up, we grew up Southern Baptist. Church was a Sunday thing for us. And then you get through your teenage years and you kind of fall out of it. And then in college and everything, I get back into it. And so I've always been open to religion. I always like learning. There's too much of it that it's done for me, I guess, personally and professionally. So I think that's a big piece of kind of my background when it comes to that. But in terms of my faith post, like the past year, is I questioned more than I ever have. And when you question, you have to look for answers. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So having to look for answers gave me a stronger foundation in my faith. And then the other big piece is every time I would pray, I would start out the same way every time. Thank you for everything that you've given me. Thank you for my family. Thank you for the health of my family. Thank you for Jamie, and thank you for Jamie's health. I was praying for everyone else. I wasn't being specific in my prayers, and I wasn't praying specifically for myself. And that was the other thing I had to learn, is it's okay to be very specific. And I've gotten better at that, of like, God, please help me use my right hand to pull out M&Ms out of my pocket on a cold night. Like, it's okay to be that specific in prayer, and it's okay to ask for things for myself.
But I bet you're still last. Is that at the end of the prayer?
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
Well, yeah, it's just old habits die hard. You gotta start out, and being 35, having the job I have, having the support system I have, family, friends, having a wife that she loves, like she really loves me, which is a tall task. Sometimes she really loves me, and that's That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's real good.
Yeah.
But we really love you too, and I just can't imagine you being anybody other than this guy.
Yeah,
So yeah, I would say you were probably fairly easy to love before.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put you on the spot right now, but because you are I'm last guy. I can tell that about you from the first 5 minutes of the conversation. What can we do to eliminate stress so your fight is even easier for you?
So I think the one thing, and this is, I think this is where I will advocate a little bit, is and again, the timing of this couldn't be any worse because we just went through an election, and not to get political with anyone, but there are some political legislation roadblocks with ALS and that community. ALS it's a disgusting disease. It's terminal. There's a lot of people every year that, just like myself, similar stories, that end up passing away, leaving families, loved ones, kids, everything else. And there needs to be a change in legislation to allow access to more drugs. There really does, because in my own opinion, if a drug passes, phase 1 and it's deemed as being safe and tolerable, and there's a small glimmer of hope that it may benefit someone, maybe not me, but someone else, because they don't know much about this disease, I feel like they should be able to take that. And I feel like the FDA should support that. And if that could be a benefit from the podcast, them listening to someone that has this disease, that desperately does not want to die from this, that will do anything in my power not to die, let me take anything that you think may work. These companies have spent millions of dollars. They've invested so much into what they believe. So if they believe that much into something, let me believe in it and give me access to it.
I know Donald Trump passed a law.
He did.
That had something to do with being able to get it, the experimental phase.
Yep. Says the Right to Try Act.
Right to Try, yeah.
Yeah. So Right to Try Act is it's completely along those lines. As long as a drug is deemed safe and tolerable, a person could gain access to that drug through the drug company to get benefit from it or to see if it helps. The hard part is still that FDA hurdle.
Well, and I think something important for listeners to do, though, there are people who live decades with this.
Yes.
But at the same token, I couldn't agree more, and I'm glad you said that, because I would support that 100%.
Yeah. No, I hope that if there is I hope anyone out there could help advocate in just in more clearance and restrictions, regulations, everything to give people and to give families, because it's not just people. When I take a drug and when I take a medicine, I'm not the only one that takes it. My family takes it.
Yes.
Because the effects of it, whether it's positive or negative, don't just affect me, it affects my family. So it would be very nice if they could give families that benefit.
You were extremely good at putting yourself last again and avoiding my question. So how much have you paid? I mean, not a number, but does it cost you a lot out of pocket for different appointments?
Not right now. Not right now. I'm very, very thankful that the clinical trial that I'm starting is based out of Massachusetts through the Healy Center for ALS. It's the first platform trial of its kind, which is already a big advancement in the trial world. But I was fortunate enough to get placed in Denver out of Aurora, so CU Anschutz. So
very nice. So not a lot of travel.
Not a lot of travel, which is very nice. There's 3 drugs right now that they're offering in the platform trial. They're gonna throw in more drugs as they get approved. There's 160 participants per drug. So I've already been randomized into the drug I'm gonna get. one of 160. I was the first person out of CU Anschutz to start this process. And I asked the lady, I said, why was I first? Like, I know you have a lot of people here, but why was I first? And she said, well, because you emailed me like 3 times a week and you kept calling. I said, yeah, that's right. So as of right now with cost, there's not. And it's, my wife laughs at me about it because I am a glass half full guy, but I paid off my student loans. I paid off my car. It's a 2014 Kia, over 100,000 miles, but runs great. I refinanced our house to fix our house, and we put some money away in a rainy day fund. I have gas in my car. I got some Coors Original in my fridge with half a gallon of milk.
You're golden.
What else do you need?
How good is life,
Doctor,
right?
what else do you need? So
You don't.
So I appreciate it. At some point there will be, and where I need to get better at is at some point if I do need other devices, manipulatives, I know that those are expensive. I will need help, but I'm not even at that place yet to even go there.
Yeah, and I think that is completely legitimate too, right? It's like, don't go there till you got to go there, and hopefully you never have to go there.
And we'll cross that bridge if we do.
Man, you just have such an amazing outlook. Again, it took me 5 minutes, and I'm like, oh my God, this. Producer Chad was like, he's like, oh, you're gonna love this guy, but that's a 50-50 shot with him, whether or not I'm all in.
Coin.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, well, I've heard that before, but. I think this segment, part of the reason that I certainly wanted this story so bad is, number one, we want to follow you, want to do everything that we can do to help with the mission. And I'm this way, right or wrong. You would be my personal ALS mission, and I know that we need people to donate to the big funds, to the big cause, to the main cause. I don't know. I'm a little different like that. To me, I like the personal thing where I can see it and touch it and smell it. And so we obviously, we will do anything that we can possibly do, absolutely to win this thing. And then what a hell of a great story that would be later on, right?
Oh, and it's going to happen. Like I keep thinking that. I try to, again, I don't look down the future anymore because I don't hold the future. And I was guilty of that before. I was the planner, and now not being the planner. But in the same time, you got to have tunnel vision on where you're going. And I know where I'm going, and I don't know how I'm going to get there. I know there's going to be some bumps in the road, but as of right now, I'm full steam ahead towards clinical trials, taking care of myself, taking care of the people I love and the people that love me. Because I know that there is, and at some time when there is big needs, this community is amazing. I'm tied into Erie, and whether they like it or not, I'm stuck here. And there's no place I'd rather be. We had a student a couple weeks ago, Izzy Hagman, amazing family, amazing kid. She needs to run for president. Probably I would vote for her on this past election. She's great, and she organized a fundraiser for me and my wife, and the town of Erie supported us to over $5,000 in one night. I look at him, again, I go back to, hey, I got gas in my car, and I got all these things, and it's hard for me to accept that. But on the other hand, I don't know what challenges are going to come.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know that money's going to come in good use at some point.
Well, we're going to do everything we can, and
I appreciate that.
Initially in this conversation and running the story, we had that sad emotion, so we bought the beer. When we run the second one and everything's good,
and I will drink.
You're buying the beer the next time,
and I will drink it. Yeah. Go. I only buy White Claws, though. I heard Chad likes White Claws.
He likes White Claw. Yeah. Chad.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Man, no, I appreciate it. I think to anyone that's out there, because one thing that you said that stuck with me, I'm going to kind of flip it a little bit, but one of the things that you said that stuck with me is one of the things that you can do one of the best things is to tell your story in hopes that maybe someone out there hears it or it resonates or it sticks with them. And that's why I decided to come on, because I don't necessarily like talking about myself. I don't like talking about ALS. It sucks.
Yeah.
It's like the thing at the party that you say and then everyone just puts their head down and walks away. But if anyone out there is listening and can draw comfort, strength, peace, anything that your physical being will deteriorate at some time, but if you're strong in your faith, in your convictions, in your belief, you're set. Your eternal life is set. I'm okay. I'm going to be fine.
Yeah, it's the most beautiful statement ever, and I believe it with 100% of my fiber.
Me too.
100%. And you have done exactly what I'd hoped would happen with this podcast. By the way, you're pretty damn good at it. I thought you were going to be a little freaking out.
No, I'm good.
But we are grateful for it in the fact that we love to share a story and for the benefit of others. And somebody, as always, will take something amazing from this. I know I did. But people don't always ask these questions. And that's why I love to do the stories, to ask the questions that most people think, but they won't ask. Yep. And so thank you for your honesty, your everything else out there. We'll be praying for you, dude, every day. It takes a ton of courage to come and do what you did, and you did it well.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys, too. We're in tough times right now, but yeah, I really appreciate it. Full gratitude.
Life's just tough, but you know what? We do the best we can do.
Yes, sir.
Love you, brother.
All right, love you guys,
Take
too.
care, my
Appreciate
friend.
it.